Hello everybody. I floated an idea to my Twitter friends and they all thought it was a great one. As some of you may know, I am a math teacher and I love making video games, and surprisingly, or not surprisingly, there's a lot of math in video games. So I decided to start a new series about all the math that you learn in high school and how it applies to video games. So today I thought I would start with the idea of quadratic functions. The idea of functions and frankly algebra in general should be a given when it comes to video games and really any programming, because so much of what we do is some sort of function and takes a variable. For example, look at what I did here. Def, defining the function. The function has a name, update, and this is what goes into it, and we change a variable because that's the name of the variable, the x location in this case. I wanted to add a little bit to this little program that I created a while ago and show why quadratic functions matter. And I think one of the big reasons why they matter is for jump. Jumping in video games can look kind of weird. So we are going to create a function called jump, and it's going to be just self should be the only thing that needs to be taken. And what we're going to do is if we have the jump thing executed, what we're going to do is we're going to have our little slime guy go up and then down. So in hindsight, I think I'm going to do this a little bit differently. So let's instead have this be part of the input. We didn't make an input, so def input self and key, and we are just going to create a thing called jumping, and we'll set it equal to false. And if input is space, so if key equals space, then jumping equals true. And then in the update, this is where we're going to have our jumping. So put it at the top. If jumping, so false originally, but if you press the space bar, it becomes true. Why? Oh, self.jumping. Haha. You can tell I'm jumping back and forth between, no pun intended, between different programming languages, because I'm forgetting some of the things that I used to do all the time. So if jumping, what we want to do is we want to have the person go up and then down. Person, it's a slime. And the motion of just going up and down, if I do it linearly, what I can do is if self.jumping, or to say if self.y is less than 2, why not? Then self.y plus equals 1. Yeah, I'm gonna have to change this a little bit. Anyway, plus equals not 1. We'll just do time.dt. And we'll also do self.falling equals false. So we're gonna have an up, a down, and a just kind of sitting still. So if self.y is less than 2, then self.y plus equals time.dt. So that should work. So then we say if self.y is greater than or equal to 2, then first let's just make it so that it's exactly 2. And we'll say that jumping is no longer true, but falling is. So then we need to do something for falling. If self.falling, then self.y minus equals time.dt. If self.y is less than or equal to 0, then let's make it exactly 0. And we will do falling is now also false. So in theory, if I did everything right, when I run this and I press the space bar, I'll just go up and then down. So can move left, up. Yeah, didn't do anything. Let's see what I did wrong. Okay, if forgot the self again. There we go. Up and down. So that is what I would consider to be a linear jump. So I said this lesson is going to be about quadratic functions, and this is not a quadratic. I went up linearly and then I went down linearly. And I don't actually want that to be the case. So instead what I want to do is I want to start a timer. I shouldn't necessarily need this self-jumping and self-falling, or I should say I shouldn't need the self-falling anymore. So if I have to retype this, I will. But what I want is some sort of counter. So I'll call it jump, how about jump timer? And we're going to set it equal to 0. So now, let's actually just delete all of this. So if self.jumping, then we're going to say self.jump timer plus equals time.dt. And this is going to be just the backbone for how we jump up and then jump back down. So we want to increase that. I don't want it to be I want it to be greater than 0, and here's what we're going to do is self.y, instead of adding and subtracting, we're just going to flat out set it equal to some sort of quadratic function. Now, on planet Earth, we do negative 9.8 meters per second squared. I'm going to try something a lot less than that and see where it gets us. So negative 0.5 times the jump timer squared. So that's like time squared. And then plus an initial velocity of, we're guessing here, let's go with 3. And that's also got to be times, oops, I forgot the times here. Times, there we go. And we're going to do 3 times just the time. We're not squaring the time here. So plus 3 times self.jump timer. Now, if we don't do anything, what I'm expecting to happen is that he's going to go up and then fall back down, and then he's just going to keep on going. Let's see. Off the screen, here he comes. Hey, it finally did what I expected it to do. So you can see that instead of kind of going up at one pace and then down at that same pace, which is linear movement, now I have quadratic movement. So basically what this is a quadratic formula. This is basically, let's call it S of t is equal to negative 0.5 times t, I'll use that notation, t squared, plus 3t. This is a quadratic function, shows us the vertical position of the slime based on the jump. Now, a few things. One, I felt like negative 0.5 was way too slow. So let's just increase that by a lot. And I also want to set up this other condition. So if self.y is less than 0, well, say less than or equal to 0, then it is 0, and we also say self.jumping equals false. So now we have our slime who still only moves left, and I can do a jump. He goes up and then back down. Guess I can only do it once. I'm not going to worry about doing any more. I wanted to illustrate how a quadratic function can be used in video games, and I think I did that. So self.jumping is false. That's odd that I couldn't do it a second time. Oh well. Anyway, have yourselves a wonderful day. Don't forget to learn your math, especially those of you in high school. Pay close attention if you ever want to make video games, and we will catch you on the next time.